Are we live? Are you guys out there? All right, I see Jeff in the house. Manny's in the house. Afia Raka is hydrated. Spot's in the house. Chris is in the house. Ken's in the house. Night. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much for coming back. Thank you also for being in the premiere or attending. That was awesome. Thank you so much. It's been ages since I've done a premiere, so thanks for including that in your Friday night live activities. Thought that might be a good change of pace there. But we've been having some washouts here on the Oregon coast. That's kind of nice. And I was actually getting all of my dental work surgery done while some of the best of it was happening. And I caught the tail end of that that was going on. And, you know, the storms, they give and they take away. So this current weather pattern seems to be putting the sand back, but it's the beach. There will be plenty of things like rocks on the beach in the days to come. It's all right. So Rufo just got to his fort and is getting settled. So sounds great. And Jeff is asking, how am I feeling after the dental work? You know, it's great that I don't feel anything. Like the pain has finally, since October, started to subside, and so it's just fantastic. Oh, and my mom is in the house, so say hi to Judy. Thanks for coming, Mom. I'm super blushy. I think it's because I finally got outside, and not only was I doing some stuff with the last video, it didn't look like it was anything but overcast, but you still get sun through those Oregon clouds, of course. And then Steve and I went out and he got some winging done, and I was out there videoing, and so I think I took in some nice vitamin D. And thank you for asking about that, Jeff. I appreciate that about the teeth. And let's see. Oh, everybody's saying hi to Mom. Thank you. And Lisa's back here. Ripple rocks. Yeah. The rocks that ripple, for sure. I think what I want to do is, let's go ahead and fade that bad boy out. The DJ and me wants to fade out instead of it just going away hard. But that's probably enough lo-fi for this evening. Maybe we'll revisit some a little bit later. But what we have on deck for you tonight, we had the premiere of the very first beach hunt on the Oregon coast here for me in 2024. And so if you haven't watched that, you can go back after the live and go check that out. We found some cool things. And we're going to be checking some of those things out, both here on the camera, but also under the microscope, which is right next door to me. And you can even see, oh, like there's that potato that we were supposed to cut that Steve brought me in the video. And so The beauty of modern conveniences, we're going to go ahead and bring you watching me pick it up off of the beach. Actually, Steve on that one. And then we've already cut it and we get to kind of look at what's inside as far as that guy is concerned. That was like an interesting big potato of a rock. And I'm gonna go back to the chat. Sorry. It's always interesting seeing where you guys are at as far as context and everything is concerned. Rufo is ready to see some rocks, and everybody was still saying hello to mom. And I'm playing hide and seek with you guys today. Yep. This hour's music has been brought to you by a high tech supply company. Right. So Ken's hitting my all of my promos here in the chat for me. Thank you. Well, yeah, that was lo-fi, and then we had some nice kind of strumbly string acousticy stuff during uh, the premiere, and I'm hoping at some point that I can actually make my own. That would be super cool. I'll work on my strumble patterns on the ukulele, and we'll see what happens. And John is reminding everybody not only to switch from the top chat to the live chat, and then also like and subscribe. And I really, really appreciate that. You guys all know that I never monetize these lives. I am so sorry if you guys got any ads during the premiere on those, like on the videos. YouTube usually wants you to go ahead and run those the way that they want them, and so I do. But I never monetize these, and so hopefully you guys don't get any or very, very few commercials during the live streams. And this is just for you guys. This is our fun time in the sandbox, as it were. So Diane is in the house. Welcome. Thank you so much. She's tuning in from Austin, awesome, Texas. I can say it. Hey, Steinkern, everyone. I think we've already been hitting these on account of the live stream having so many hydration points throughout the evening. But yeah, it's awesome to have you guys tuning in from so many different parts of the planet. We've got, Manny all the way from the other side of the planet, Australia, and he says cue fade and slow fade go. Yeah, I loved being a DJ and hitting like the really good segues. And so Allison says she's back in here. Well, cheers. I'm gonna do this. It's interesting. I've got a really wide angle on my studio right now. And I cleaned it like a week ago. Look at the chaos already again. Wait. Yeah. That is just nuts. Like, let me go this way. Pickle jar and some of the soldering stuff that I have going on, epoxies, all that kind of stuff. Faceting station there. And my jewelry bench is actually on the fastening station. I'm on reverse, so I gotta use the opposite sides. We've got aprons and our classifiers and that stuff there. So one of the things that we've been asking for you guys on the Discord is a shot of your studio if you feel like it. We're going to, for the next show and tell, actually show off people's studios and what you've got going on as far as your organization or your disorganization. And I always find it fascinating to look at people's setups and see what they've got going on. Ken actually shared his setup for the last podcast. If you haven't seen that yet, it was based on viewer show and tell. And one of his show and tells was his outdoor studio, which I absolutely love. And so if you want to be part of the next viewer show and tell and show off your studio, go ahead and either join our Discord. Maybe one of my mods will pop up the link to the Discord here, or you can always email the Rockhound podcast, and I'll try to remember to put the email in the description. It just requires an invite to either the Discord, or you can email me the pictures, and we'll include them in the next viewer show and tell. And that should be pretty soon. Meanwhile, the podcast, man, we were supposed to go on this week. Actually, we're going to usurp tonight and go on, but that fell through. And so you guys know that it's been like kind of like trying to ride a rodeo pony like lately through the winter time, getting the podcast squad all in the same place at the same time. And so we do have some really super cool guests lined up. And next week we will be having a podcast, just so you know. And it should be awesome with like in theory a great guest, but we've been having some cancellations lately. And so either way you slice it, we'll either have like everybody's great studios or a wonderful guest, whichever way that it comes out. And oh, like Rufo was just thinking, like, oh, I forgot to send that in. And so definitely join us for that. It's always good. Boots, good to see you in the house. And Melissa is in the house as well. And you are always wonderful to see. I think I've said hi to most y'all. And if I haven't, you'd better. Oh, Jenny's in here. Oh, Papa too. Oh my gosh. Well, I said that way too soon, but uh, good evening, you all. Happy Friday to you. And so, out of that premiere that we just saw, we have this potato that Steve brought me on the beach, and we'll go ahead and have a look at this really quick. And we're going to look at some of the stuff underneath the microscope, like that mystery rock that I wasn't sure if it was Torito wood. Ken called in the chat that perhaps it might be fishy, like it might be a fish fossil. We're going to look at that underneath the microscope. I cut also the agate that Lisa wanted cut, and I cut a piece of basic matrix. And just from my eye seeing what I have in the recent past, it looked like a really, really good one to see if it had some foramins in it. And since we have the microscope that we can zoom in and out of, I thought maybe we'd look for some foramins as well. And so we took some slices off of that. And so first of all, here's the potato. Now, this guy is basically what you would say was a beach jasper. I had the orientation there wrong. Or is it a jagged, meaning that it's like the jasper and the agate at the same time? It's got some blushy colors. It's got the rind like an agate would, and that's why Steve brought it to me, because sometimes when you have a great big rock like this, but it has that kind of rind, the whole thing can be an agate, which is like, woo, super awesome. And so let's see, Ripple Rocks, welcome into the chat, and was asking if anybody has the link to the Discord. And so if anybody in here that has a wrench might go and get the link, and otherwise I can go get it. And it looks like Vicky has joined us as well. And I was telling you guys that during the premiere that the beach days are the leg days, and then the live stream days are the arm days. And so, I've been cutting rocks and also holding them up for you guys. Putting up Discord link, but not a mod, so might not work. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. Ken's got it. Thanks, Ken. Hey, John, I should probably make you a mod unless you're modded out. I know you're like a mod on a whole bunch of different channels. But thank you. Yes, Annie says this is Mr. Potato. This is Mr. Potato, and his head's about to come off. Now, what's interesting about this guy is kind of how oatmeal and maybe non-interesting this is. I'm trying to get the angle right. There we go. And I know the coloring isn't the very best as far as like the camera and the lighting here goes. But what you're seeing is some agate and some jasper mixed, and we even have a pocket over there where we might be going into some either bots or druzy. Let's see. This one is gonna be hard for me to get underneath the microscope, but you can see that there's yeah, it looks kind of bot oriented, and so there are pockets inside this, and so this actually might be worth doing some extra excavation in. It's hard to tell because it's not quite as gemmy as, say if you're cutting your graveyard plume maggot and that sort of thing. But it is pretty. And so I might cut a little bit more. I didn't afford the time to cut like a slice so that we could backlight it and see like just how agate or how jaspery it was. It feels kind of sugary. So I mentioned in the video sugar agate, and that's usually when agate is a cryptocrystalline silicate, and quartz is a little bit more on the macro crystalline side. And so that like nature doesn't know what our parameters are as far as nomenclature goes and that sort of thing. And so there are these instances where you get kind of almost right in between. And so this guy might be actually a bit of a fence sitter, which is kind of cool. And so I don't know. If you guys vote for me slicing some more, we could take a closer look at that. And I'm gonna catch up a little bit on the chat. I mean, it is Diane. Did I already say welcome? Hopefully I did, but if not, welcome. And it is nice. Let's see. And we're going through some. Oh, Kyle's in the house. Howdy, Kyle. Everybody make sure to pop by Kyle's tomorrow, especially if you're looking for some gem show excitement. If you're not there in Tucson, go over to Kyle's and do some mad shopping anyway. I know he's got some really great new stuff, and he was just stuffing his face with some noms. Excellent. And Manny says cut cut cut. Nice. Oh, and it looks like squirrels in the house as well. Welcome. Ripple in Stillwater. Jenny knows totally where I'm coming from. I won't be playing any songs tonight because the uke is not in arm's reach, or maybe that might have happened. But strumbling will happen at some time soon. And it looks like oh, okay. So Kyle is talking about having sliced up one of the pine cones and should make some interesting cabs, and I'm really looking forward to that too. I was wondering, and it's so hard to express oneself a lot of times in the chat. So in his chat, I was trying to say like it would be so cool to see one of those pine cones, which look like corn on the cob, but petrified and very old, um, cut like sliced like a cucumber, and some earring pairs made out of that. Like that the jeweler in me is going like, wouldn't that be so cool to see what those sliced that way? And then some of the pairs that would maybe be cool together be made into some earrings. And so maybe after you're done making some cabs, maybe I can get a pine cone from you, or perhaps you could try doing that as an experiment just for me. um And John was saying, "Cool, Kyle," and enjoyed the Mariposite polishing video, which I need to watch because I actually have some of that, and it would be very cool to see you polish it as well. It can be, I think, a little bit tricky because it's a little bit on the soft side, but I'm going to see what Kyle does with that. Very, very cool. Um, all right, and let's see, we're talking about all the wonderful things in everybody's lives. Awesome. And so, Blind Squirrel, right, was talking about, finally seeing the sun back. I guess the groundhog said that we were gonna, have an early spring, and it was supposed to get warm, and so I love that. "Cut, slice, and dice," says my mom. So I guess that's a, you know, gotta do that. Melissa is agreeing with me. I think that Melissa and I were actually on the same page in that chat. We were going like, "Yeah, you should totally do that." And I think that we were reading each other's brains as far as that's concerned. Um, and Jeff was saying that he's got a bunch of drilled pairs for Vicky to work on making some earrings, from Kyle, of course. Awesome. And Kyle's talking about sending some photos. Awesome. Yeah, we would love to see that. And Julian cuts. You know what's funny about that, blind squirrel, is however yummy that sounds like. Let's make some French fries or something. I do like to cut some things in a Julian style cut because making pillar style drop earrings is a thing for me. I love them. And so, you know, kind of like that long thin cut. I don't know why I love it so much, but I think it looks so cool in a dangle drop earring type deal. And so you can kind of tell I'm a little high centered on earrings for some reason at the moment. Um, Twister says that the storm has passed, uh, all powered back up. Awesome. Twister, I know we've all been riding out some storms, talking about the rodeo. Pine cones and corn cobs, says Squirrel. Yeah. um, it always makes me think of climbing up and finding these super old corn cobs in a cliff dwelling one time. Left them there. But like whenever I see the petrified pine cones, that's exactly what they looked like. Were these ancient corn cobs, and so yeah, Melissa's talking about mind reading for sure. Okay, and so we're gonna swing on over here. You can see the microscope in the shot now. I have my faceting machine covered. So weird. This is like going the wrong way. Because I've been doing some jewelry work. We're gonna have some new earrings dropping on the website over the weekend. And those of you who keep track of the website, I've been putting some new stuff on, and some of it's been kind of like going as soon as I post it. And so I'm trying to get some stuff built up for y'all for like Valentine's, as well as working on the special orders that I still have. And so right past the microscope is a project that's being like censored, that will be up on the website hopefully tomorrow. It's a pair of Tabasco earrings with the little Tabasco geodes are black and like almost just black and white, like they're black and crystal. And I paired them with some snowflake obsidian. It seemed totally natural since it's like the Fire and Ice series. The obsidian being like both fire and ice, and then the geodes looking very much like crater volcanoes, but with like this, icy druzy inside. loving that. And so anyways, those are right there, right past the microscope. But we're gonna get into some of this. And so let's see, we did this potato cut, and I also okay. This is something that I cut that I picked up off of the beach that I didn't video. And this is the thing that I wanted to show us as far as the foramens go. You can see there's like quite a bit of fossil material in this particular piece, and you can see almost like, death platey periods of time through this piece, but it's all kind of micro. And I found that these typically merit some really nice foramens. And so we're going to take a look at that. Lisa had mentioned wanting to see the inside of this little glower. What was kind of funny about this guy, let me see if I can orient this right. And I think that Ken also was saying that this might have like a little uh, opal pockety thing going on. And they oftentimes are amalgams, and sometimes they have spectacular insides. And then other times they're just really kind of like gooey agate inside. And so let me see if I can get on the other side of my microphone. Whoa, and line up my hands because I'm backwards. But yeah, this one turned out to be like such a close, everlasting gobstopper that it's more like almost parallax in there. And so I'm sure that if I decided to polish both sides, that we might get something that's like super fancy because the parallax is so close. But otherwise, it's lacking in distinction just because it's different shades of super close to itself, shades of honey yellow, and no like really big contrasty lines. And so not what most people are looking for in an agate, and yet like probably pretty elegant if I wanted to polish the other sides of that. Looks like Josh is in the house. Thank you for joining us. And talking about being one big virtual family, isn't that right? But like one that gets along. Oh my gosh. Um, looks like we're all blowing off some steam. And oh, Kirk must be in the house as well. And Kid Curry is in the house. Excellent. Nice to see you. Oh, yep. Being overwhelmed. Yep. It's the family. And so cheers to that. We'll get to I think the fossil wants to go under the microscope first. Or how about the we saw a um coprolite possibly. We'll look at that one first. And the bear has entered the room. Everybody bid the bear hello, lest they take your picnic basket. Um, Here's the one I was talking about, the concretion that had what? What is that, guys? Okay, I laugh because at first I was like, this is surely just a concretion. And whenever I say concretion, does anybody else have like earworms that go into their heads? Like, trilobite always reminds me of a certain Dave Matthews song where I like trilobite. Na, 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 and I'm not going to get a copyright strike here now, but uh concretion always makes a Who video come into my head. So, or song. Um, and so anyways, we're gonna do the concretion, and we're gonna get, let's see, I'll do this until I get it figured out. Um, we'll bring this bad boy into focus. Probably best to pan out first. Love this zoom. You guys gotta know. This is so good. And while we were all finishing the live stream, or rather the premiere, I was I was having camera difficulties. Like it was like, yeah, no, we can't we can't read your camera on the microscope. I'm like, why? It's the same one you were born with. And so I was having like a little bit of a stress. Okay, so first of all, let me now trade with this phenomenon. Da, 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 da. Yeah, phenomenon, aluminum. Like I used to have Illumina, like those terrible minivans that look like a little mini vacuum cleaner that you'd plug into the charger. And that one was always like the Lumina. Ba ba da da da. Yep, you totally got that right. Trouble with the Tibbles. Trilobites. Yeah. Trouble with the Trilos. I love that, John. You know that that's going to be it. It may be a concretion, but don't call me Shirley. You know, I think, okay, I've got an idea here, you guys, as we look upon this like maybe piece of coprolite, who knows what this is. I think it would be super fun for me to bring back, oh, and Rocky Mountain bears got worms. I'm hoping that they're earworms. I hope so much. Um, but I thought it might be fun if I brought back some of the like cringy videos from my beginnings, and or who knows what. And we could riff them right here because you guys already do that. And so it would be okay. Like we could MST3K this out. I know you guys are up to the task, and I think that it would be cool. See, Boot was saying, wonder what that itch was. Yeah, either, worms, crabs, whatever. Are we looking at a crab? Let's see. Kirk says, I have a couple red concrete cock creations. Is that anything special of them? Are you talking about concretions? And yes, it's very possible that there's something special in there. Um, and Allison, I had to go to a spontaneous meteorite event. I'm back. Awesome. I'm hoping that you had a great time with the meteorite event happening spontaneously. I think a lot of them are very like, millisecond style instantaneous kind of things, right? So, Kid Curry wants Kirk to see a doctor for that. Um, Tribbles are flat cats, and they stole them from Robert Heinlein. Indeed. I cut anything interesting and see what's inside, says Boot to Kurt. I agree with that. Was it about the big one passing tonight? Allison is asking Rufo about that meteorite. Bob is in the house. Bob's Rocks says hi, guys. Asteroid, says Rufo. Yeah. So okay. Um, on this piece of whatever it is, it could be either a coprolite or it could be more. And I say that because, oftentimes we see pieces of an animal in a coprolite. And so I think that's like the big few for now, and then I'll get you in even bigger, and I'll get rid of myself, but I'm going to look along here. Okay, so for one thing, we almost have a symmetry. Where's my pointer? Okay. Oh, my assistant forgot to put my pointer out. Hold on just a sec. You guys take a good long look at what could possibly be symmetry there for a moment. All right. For microscope pointers, I really like solder picks, and I like solder picks for so many multitasking things throughout the gallery that they're always in use, and this one actually has solder on it. So I'm gonna clean it off really quick so you guys aren't looking at solder mud. I love we were having this discussion somewhere about the solder the solder clay. I love it. I love it. Some people don't. I do. Okay, so I'm trying to stay in the microphone. I had it set up a little bit better last time. So um, I'm gonna travel up. Okay, there's like a little pokey, right? Hole situation, little crater. And we have one over here. We have like a line that goes down, and we have two divots on either side of it. Now, that could be some symmetry, or I could be imagining that. But I almost feel like that starts like a, a sort of symmetrical arrangement going on. Let's turn this so that, one part of the symmetry could be on the right. Oh no, it fell. Let's see if I can get that set up again. I hate that when that happens. I kind of rigged this and I should have had it better in the vise. So let's see, where's our symmetry again? See if I can align that. All right. So there. And oh. Did kind of like a little rolly thing. And we have a ridge, and we have a ridge right there. And so, there's things about this rock that actually I could be seeing it, or it could, I might be seeing like nothing, or it could be something. Let's see. Coprolite and pine cone's a good pairing. Yeah, right? um So let's get a little bit closer. It could be a scoot. I like that, Rocky Mountain Bear. Let's get closer. One of the things, did everybody hit the like button? Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate that. So with coprolite, you get bits of a creature, right? And so I'm thinking that at the very least, this is that, because we have bits of creature all through this. And I have yet to excavate it enough to know if they're all connected, but we have like a super definite piece of creature there. You can see all of the darker bits across the face of this are creature. Let's see, like that right there, the piece that's kind of spiky, like going the wrong way, because again, this is all backwards. Right there underneath the tip, you can see very organic and shiny pieces of things. That guy there, that guy right there in the center. And then, if you look at the ridge lines, like these ridge lines that are down here at the bottom, like those those look so organic. And so someone sneak some wobble into my water. Yeah, perhaps just to clarify, not a cocaine bear. Oh, creature features. Yep. Meth squirrels. Interesting. About the right shape and size for. Okay. Where did Ken say a turtle egg? Whoa. Now, wouldn't that be a freaking blast? Um, Yeah, it's possible. Owl pellet, yeah. So spot, exactly like an owl pellet. Most of the coprolites that you find that are fossilized, um, from fossil records that have, say, fish that eat other fish and that sort of thing, you do find a lot of like fish bone material within the coprolite. And so we'll get closer. Who wants to get closer? We'll get in on the creature features, the organic creature features here. And you start like the closer you get, the more organic the filigree of these ridge lines get. And so instead of like if we were just looking at a plain old a plain old our beloved say fortification agate and that sort of thing. I'm gonna try to so like see this lacy ridge line right there. Um, that might be a fortification line, but here that's more likely the lacy ridge line of a say a carapace or something of that nature. And since I allude to that, I'm wondering again if we're into potentially one of the marine bugs, like some of the fishermen will call the lobsters and the crabs bugs, because they kind of are. They're like marine bugs, and so they're just really big. And so it kind of feels like we're looking at something like that. Um, is that a small shell in the lower corner? Huh. I'm wondering what corner. There's probably lots of small shells in here as far as like the foraminifer foraminifera shells rather. So I'm just moving it hopefully daintily slow so that you guys can see again the filigree and the ridge lines of what could be somebody's organic feature. It just looks a little bit more romantic than coprolite, where there's going to be a permineralization of poop, and then within that is suspended bits. Now, it still could be that because I mean, look at these. We have some bits that are very like that is a organic fish bit. So is that right there. Of course, this thing that we've been looking at in the center the whole time, that guy there. We'll take a tour a little bit more, and so you guys can get a little bit more of a feeling for this. But let's see, cocaine bear is already stuffed and on display in a sporting goods store back east somewhere. Okay, says Rocky Mountain Bear. Um, and Travis, did I see that Travis is in the house? Um, Oh, don't tell Travis. Oh, right, about yeah. Well, there's a part of a thing that I have also here that I showed in the video, I think, that might be might be turtleish. And we have the Fossil Fest that is going on at the Hatfield Marine Science Center in Newport. Um, next week. Depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching it in real time, it's next week. And if not, then it was in February on the 10th, I believe. And so I've rotated it, and I mean, this is crazy organic. Um, I don't know what. Let's see. Moving upwards. This like it looks so organic, like not like poop, like again the somebody's shell or something, I don't know. But this can be excavated. You can see that there's a good bit of whatever this is still underneath this little concretion here. as I swirl around over to this side, you can see the dark bits very much being, um, absolutely, most definitely, uh, like fish or, uh, marine bug types. And then that whole ridge at the edge of the concretion there is so, once again, very, very organic looking. Um, but will Phil agree? I don't know. Okay, and Rufo says my box is actually coming this week. How very cool. And I totally agree. I understand about sidetracking, and I've been just crazy busy with my teeth and stuff like that. So it's great that as I'm coming up for air and after getting caught up, I'll have your box to look forward to, Chris. Thank you so much. And something to play with the scope is going to be super fun as well. Allison says sea bugs. Yes, I love to see bugs. The sea bugs love to be seen. Sea bugs and bugs, absolutely. Cut the shiitake. That's funny. This needs to be cut. Actually, I think since it's so small, you probably saw it's I don't know, like what size is that little button? I guess like an inch and a half by an inch and a half, sort of thing. I definitely feel like I should chip away at it. I think I'll do a little prep work to see what else is underneath there. Um, and squirrel needs to pack. Oh, you must be headed for an adventure this weekend. Very cool. um, Roots run irregular like that. Yeah, this could be organic, like some sort of like a little root ball or even a like a fruit or a nut. I have found nut uh, material in the fossil formation at Beulah in Eastern Oregon. And yeah, it has this kind of feel to it as well. Like you can see how these little swirlies through this, the organic texture, it like almost is like a walnut shell. Um, and then I always I picture like a lot of times this is the not so pristine side. It looks like it got a little bit more what I would imagine is compressed. Like a lot of times our fossil record isn't all awesome like Kemmerer in Wyoming because our fossils weren't preserved where they landed. A lot of times we get like the super jambalaya of like, oh, sorry, your fossil record, got like swirled in tumults. Um, get a little closer there. You can see there's a curving, several curving organic bits. Like those are like absolutely no question either fish or some other kind of organic, either bone or um, covering carapace or turtle shell or whatever. It's so different of a thing. Is my pointer pointing? Because if my pointer is pointing, somebody tell me if my pointer is pointing, then that little thing right there and that little thing right there and this stuff, like that's all like there's no question that these glassy bits, they're shiny. If I put them under the other microscope, they would all have some kind of killer cellular structure, which is pretty impressive because the preservation here, to have these features be maintained is actually pretty darn good considering how hardcore the ocean is on things. Um, let's see. And Rufo was talking about uh, crazy bunches of boxes going out. Wow, a very busy week, and all of us recipients, including your Patreons, which Rufo has the Patreon, so go on over there and do that. Uh, you know, they're getting their boxes too, so awesome. Awesome things for people that support. Thank you so much. And Eric the cat is saying hello and careful. It could be a space alien pod. I always wonder about that. Somebody wanted me to work a meteorite for them a long time ago, and I was like, I don't know about doing that. I don't know too much about meteorites and whether or not I'm going to get any kind of radiation or something like that off of it. It was it was before I had done any amount of research, and so uh, Afia Raka is sad about, like, hot days. I wish I had some hot days. It was like we were having unseasonably hot weather here for this time of year, which meant that it was, in the high 50s, like, nearing the 60s, which actually, after our ice storm, was quite welcome, and people are still trying to clean up after that. It's been such a mess. Exoskeleton, yes, Spot, thank you. What pointer? So, apparently, no. No pointers pointing. And so, yeah, all the dark bits, guys. Anything that's shiny or dark or not looking like part of the conglomerate there. Um, okay, bummer, because my little pointer was working during the podcast, so I don't know why it's not working today, unless I actually just did figure that out. So I'm not going to worry about it though. LOL, bad radiation. The answer is no, by the way. Thank you, Allison. Um, releases the blob while prepping a meteorite, says Spot. Yeah, I don't want to release any blobs for sure. Okay, so anyways, this has been the you pan way out here so that we can see what we were just looking at. Yeah, this has been, oh, yeah, I was going the wrong way. This little, is it a coprolite or is it the bits from I'm kind of voting for the body of a crab, and that if I got in there, I might be able to find out that we've got like leg holes and stuff like that. A lot of the bodies that are found here on the coast are just the body of the crab. The crabs that are found on the coast are a lot of times just the body, is what I was trying to say if that didn't come out right. And so that's possibly what we have there. And so I'm going to keep on keeping on with this guy. But if this is a crab in there, oh look, there's a spider hanging from the crab. Do you guys see that? The little there. Sorry, dude. I should put this guy down gently. All right. Sorry, dude. He took a he took a ride on the crab. A spider riding a crab, a fossil crab. Where else do you get to see this on the interwebs but here? Yeah, geometric patterns. So are you talking about the crab, Ken? Because I can't help but see something symmetrical, but I'm hoping that it's not just me hoping really hard that it's something that isn't really there, because that could be the case as well. Sonia is in the house. Greetings, Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us. The Krabby Patty, so much so. Boot. It just feels like it's either, crab parts, like they got macerated by something, or yeah, the actual crab. I hope like a crab body would do it for me, as far as like the bucket list of finding a crab here. People do it. People have been doing it already this season. I think I alluded to it earlier. I was out with the dental surgery, and we were like having all-time best washouts at that moment in time. They're all getting sanded in now, and so I kind of missed it. And I watched other people finding some super good stuff. It like too late for me to know about it. What geologic period is that nugget from? Is asking the Rocky Mountain Bear. And to answer you, the things that I'm finding in our formation are either the Astoria Formation or the Nye Formation. The Astoria is Middle Miocene, and the Nye Mudstone Formation, I believe, is a bit older than that. Um, Meaning like it's more at the beginning of the Miocene as opposed to the middle Miocene. And so we're talking about like, 15 million years old, or, getting, I think it goes to 25. Um, I should refresh my memory as far as like all of the end and beginnings of the different eras. But we're talking about, a couple dozen uh million years to a little over a dozen is like the point in which we're looking at the eras, most likely the best that we can tell as far as our science is concerned. And it's fun because stuff like that has the tendency to change also as we learn more things about our coastline. And Boot is talking about loving to carve up a concretion. Really? We should talk. I know somebody who can grab one. We're allowed to take them as mementos, for also science, but they're just not for any kind of a commercial use. That would be bad juju. And so, anyways, I have the occasion to share them with fellow people that are interested in prepping and finding out some interesting science from these guys. Mr. Turtle Montana has entered the building. I guess I'll skip right to, oh, I guess that's not even out of the bag. I thought I took it out of the bag. Did I toss it back into the bag? Let's get in the bag. What's in the bag? Um, let's see. I found this thing. I thought I took everything out of the bag. I did. So I was so interested in this thing that, oh no, there it is. Okay. Um, this is so on my keyboard. I just throw it anywhere. This looks like a piece of sedimentary rock, and it could be. And in the video, I even said something to that effect. Like, I see these, and sometimes they look like a thing, and then other times I don't know. And so what's interesting is that this has a porous feature that runs through it, and then it also has bits in it that has like that same kind of glassiness that we were looking at, that is basically, the telltale for if you've got like a kind of bone with the structure that fish have. So again, this could be just a sedimentary rock with all those little pores of the light material going through. But also, when I went over to Kent Gibson's for the amazing walkthrough of his fossil collection, I did notice that on the shelf that the turtles were, that there were, I guess the shell can have that makeup. And so it's very possible that we have a bit that has broken off from a larger piece, kind of like the marine mammal ears. Like, I don't know if one would like strike me upside the head if I would really recognize it on the beach. I took a long, hard look at his shells that were supposed to be turtle shells, and sometimes they had like a very definite outside feature that you go, okay, that looks really different. Like the skin on the outside of the shell looked, okay, that's the rind of a something organic. But when you were looking at the cross section of it, that's what it looked like, and yet I'm still unsure. And so, at any rate, this guy, could possibly be some turtle. Who knows? And so that could be interesting. I'll be taking a closer look at that. I did spy some of the glassy bits within that strata under the microscope when I was playing a little bit earlier. So it could be a thing. Um, Hydrate, says Ken. Lots of words. And folks are talking about radioactive things. And, even after the tsunami that we had from the earthquake in Japan, and we've got a lot of debris that has been washing up for this whole time. Folks have been uh, Geiger countering stuff on the beach, like looking for that stuff that has some sizzle to it. And so, moving to the next thing. So you guys, there's this guy. Remember this from the video? Again, when I'm talking about fishy bits that are glassy, I'm like using my alternate side of my body as far as what I'm looking at. So that little thing right there is shiny and glassy, just like those bits that we were looking at under the microscope, and we've got more of it right there. And we're about to see it under the microscope, but I wanted to point that stuff out to you with like this really trippy coloring there at the end. And so Ken was wondering if maybe that was fish. And um, it very well might be. I'm gonna uh, roll out the ball vise here to hold on to this guy so that hopefully it doesn't shimmy around while we're trying to look at it. All right. Yep. That didn't work. So many pivoting angles on these wonderful ball vices that you got to have everything secure before you try to move, or else something will give. All right. So let's go to that. Or that is even better. Okay. So we're actually looking at some of that, the, the fish material. If you felt like you ever wanted to train your eye, all of that dark material is definitely like fish bone or body of some kind, from my experience. And a lot of times I just call these ones that have like a yard sale of this stuff like that. There you can see that's a cross section of something. It's filled with a different kind of sediment that was some kind of more hollow something that got filled. You've got some more of it down here, like a leg or something that was pretty big and pretty hollow. And so we'll take a little tour around. I really think that and that white bit at the top, that is a shell. And so to train your eye, not as though that you guys were necessarily wanting to this might be TMI about marine fossils, but this guy right here, that's a shell for sure. You can see the serration of like the hinge or whatever. And then this here is definitely like fish bone or some other kind of organic material. And a lot of them look plump, like that it was container bone. This guy also, we're looking at like probably more of a cross section. This part I think is really interesting. Anybody want to weigh in on this? Okay, so this is where that kind of leggy thing is coming through, right? And these are connected. That is like a thing coming off that's connected. That right there is coming off and it's connected to whatever this is. Wild, huh? And then we got this guy over here. It looks like if I dug in a little bit there, would that be connected like these over here? What are we looking at? Now, I was just talking about how we get a lot of compression. We do have a lot of yard sales. And so, like, unlike Kemmerer, where we get these perfect fish pictures, we have a lot of things that get crushed, or things get smeared away from where they belong. And so it's not like you can just take what you're looking at for face value and hope that that was like the way things are supposed to be, and yet sometimes it does. And so it's kind of a trip, which way it goes. Is that a cross section of a hollow bone on the left side? Probably, I would say. It's like sometimes when they're filled with a different kind of sediment, you can go, yeah, that was hollow. Like we're looking at some almost most definitely. So hard to be definitive with stuff like this, but when we're looking at, like, that's a just a really different color, and this in here is a different, whoa, that way, and this in here is a different color, then its surrounding matrix, it gives you a clue that perhaps that was something that was a three-dimensional hollow form that was getting filled with some other kind of matrix, perhaps even at a different time period. A lot of things like will fill in, and then they'll get filled in with a matrix around it. And I've done some cuts where the matrix material inside a fossil will have different foramens than the matrix material on the outside of the fossil. And so, definitely depicting different periods of time, which is fascinating to me. Hollow bone could be bird. Oh my gosh. Yeah, don't even I I couldn't imagine how exciting it would be if I got to find a bird. I think that Ma'am Lambo is the only one that gets to find cool things like that. Allison says, "Awesome, thanks for showing us these things." Yeah, they are really cool. Hopefully, you guys think they're as cool as I do. I just this is what gives me like thrills. This is what I dork on for sure. It looks like a cave painting, says Twister. Yes, a lot of times I call these graffiti rocks, especially if I can't tell what's going on. And in this case, it's like got half of the stuff seems like it wants to be something, and half of the stuff seems like it's like just having burst apart. And so they are tentacles. Wouldn't that be so cool, Boot? Like a lot of the things that are soft tissue, like any of the tentacled beings, like the octopi, even for the most part, sea stars. Can you imagine, like, say, like, let's just pretend that this is a cuttlefish. How cool would that be? You know. Um, so yeah, this it's just, if for no other reason, looking upon something that's like this ancient and looking at these weird uh this weird structure, it's expressing something. It's just kind of awe-inspiring to wonder what in the world it was. And Diane, yeah, like, again, a jellyfish would be amazing. There have been just so few jellyfish and say seahorses and things like that found in the fossil record, because that soft tissue, like, it really has a hard time getting preserved. And so most of the material that you see that is very dark is a hard bone of some kind. And so if you can wrap your minds around that, like, okay, we're working with a hard bone that does those things, like, and is attached to something, you know, like that. And then okay, here's a scenario. Not to tarry too long on this guy, but okay, so if this is, say we're thinking of those marine arachnid style hard exoskeleton guys, right? And it's coming off of like a body here, and maybe there's another one there. Maybe we're even thinking of like shrimp, crayfish, that sort of thing. But we have like a blown out like bone here, but that might have gone into a muscle, but we have maybe part of the leg that has collapsed over towards, say, the body, and we might have like another of the smaller legs that's the cross section there. It would explain a lot of the weird little things that we have here. Because if you think of like the crayfish and the shrimp, they have like lots of little like spiny bits. Like there's that reminds me of like, some of the little spiny bits that come off of some of those kinds of creatures. So fossils that have been through the ringer, they've got street cred for sure, Jenny. Yeah, it's almost like a crinoid. Some of this stuff could be so close. It's just, I think that there's a lot of investigation that's been done on some of the creatures and then very little on some of the other ones. Just uh, OSU has a lot of talent and a lot of talent that comes out here to work on fossil record stuff. But we what percentage of the ocean do we know about? Something like 4%. I know it's under 10% of the entire ocean that we know about. Like, think of the ocean's fossil record. It's got to be vastly unknown even more than those numbers. And so here's up to like almost like what looks like a fossil burn area. Can't tell exactly what is going on up here, but it looks like, that's a large area of, sort of organic burnout. Let me see if I can get that in better focus for you guys. Sorry. Um, I'm like fighting with my Zoom. There we go. It's a big enough fossil that we're probably too close to zoom out too much, but so you can kind of see around the bottom edge. At first, I thought I was looking at maybe like the mandible or mouthpiece of like a fish, and then some of just like the little fish bits that had fallen away from it. But yeah, it's just really it's a weird this is a weird fossil. I love it so much. I love the really, really weird stuff that I mean, yeah, doesn't that look like just like random graffiti or cave painting, as you said? Bring that into focus a little bit more. Look at that for a bit. Yeah, that's I mean, it does look a lot like a yard sale. Rocky is saying that they need to upload some of the fossils to Discord. Yes, please, please, please do that so y'all can help me figure out what the crap kind of creatures I have found. Yeah, we all like, we're in it to win it together for sure. The crowd knowledge, is so awesome. Like get a bunch of eyes on the stuff for sure. So Blind Squirrel Rock says, "You got me doing this here when I find limestone with similar features as your rocks." Yeah, right. It's so cool when your eyes are kind of a little tuned so that like, oh hey, I totally would have maybe missed that before, but now I'm going to take a double look at that. So interesting. The more stuff that you put your eyes on, the more likely you're going to see stuff that is just waiting. It's been waiting for millions of years to somebody for somebody to recognize and say hello. Let's see. Ken says, just think of all the lost paleo sites on your coast from when the coast was 50 miles west of where it is now. Yeah, not only was it very, very far west, and so that's actually when we get like the big the big low tides. I made a joke about that in my premiere this evening, that, we were having a high low tide, so we were kind of like in the mean between moons. But when we get like those monster low tides and a lot of the reef is showing, oftentimes you do find some really interesting stuff because that fossil record goes way out there. And we are um, always kind of on this this lift that's going on too. But also this tide, didn't stop here at the coast. It stopped in the Willamette Valley not too long ago in history as well. So the fossil record goes all the way inland as well. So it's pretty neat when you like start thinking about all of the different layers, all the different periods of time that are, like either trapped in our mountains or just under the surface of the water when you get like a super nice low tide. It's very cool. Um, let's see. Weird pumpkin arthropod piece. We need to see that, Bear. We wanna see that. Um, neat comments, you guys. Uh, I would spend hours staring at that. Well, you know what? I do. I could I could change our little vantage point around a little bit, but yeah, I mean, a lot of times that's it's like one of those things where if you stare at it long enough, are you going to see the picture? Um, Ken was talking about those magic pictures, and I mean, I love this little curl over here. What is that? What's that? All these things are the shapes that they are for a reason. And we've got bits that are so intricate. That's so cool. But, as we saw with that one before, like definitely things that were hollow form and filled in. And then we've got thick bits like that. I have one little fossil that I'm pretty sure is a either a shrimp or a crayfish, and it does have like it bears a fair amount of resemblance to the thicker bits of this. And so I don't know. Uh, I might be going to Fossil Fest next week and with like a fairly sizable bag of rocks for some folks to look at. It'll be a fun event if anybody is coming to the coast. Hit me up. Maybe we'll say hi. Um, so Eric the cat says one thing I missed about my old place was that there was a lot of limestone found in a good number of found a good number of brachiopods and other sea fossils. Sorry about the reading skills, but yeah, it's fascinating, especially when you're inland, finding all the sea fossils for sure. Um, Oh, Bob, your plate that you shared that has the bryozoans, most certainly. I meant to reply to that. It's been like a super crammed up week, but yeah. So anybody who was on the Discord that was looking at Bob's rocks plate, he's got something that like basically looks similar to what I'm showing you. It's like this big yard sale of different bits and some interesting stick type things, and they were trying to figure out if they were maybe fish fins or that sort of thing. Those things have a hard time being preserved. Some of the best preservation I've seen is in camera of that, and they all have different colors when they preserve, and so it's kind of hard to get an eye unless okay, that's from this quarry or that's from this formation, so that okay, I'm looking for, like, I know that the bones from that formation come in this color and that sort of thing. I mean, it can really help in identification. And in that case, one of the things that kind of came to my mind was that there were those bryozoans, and in one of the pieces, one of the boulders that I like to visit on one of the places on my coast that I love has echinoid spines. And there's also what is the dentist, there's that like a tube shell that's something like a dentalis or something like that. And so there's the possibility of them, instead of being bones, if they share some of that same sort of uh, calcification look of the bryozoans and some of the other shell things, then it could be that they are. and that they're part of like their echinoid spines, or that they're the dentalis. I think it's dentalis. You guys can help me out. So Duck Killer Clyde is here. Hello. And uh, no, it's not a moon rock. It's actually a fossil from the coast, the Oregon coast. So that would be a good candidate for a polish sometime that brings out a lot more detail. Yeah, I think I might, it might get a little acid bath to see how far I can go with it and preserve the little bits. But a lot of times the little bits will just like go away. And so, nah. Um, and so that's what we call fossil soup in the Midwest, right, Cynthia? Thanks for joining us, Cynthia. Yeah, definite like fossil soup. It could be a complete mishmash for sure. Um, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go to there's this other guy that I'm gonna probably get wet, but let me set it first in the vise. So this guy, I thought he might be really cool to find um the where am I at? So this is where that slice came from. I like to slice things flat, slice things fat, because I found that sometimes it's hard to see the forums if they are like if they have the same contours as the sand. And so on the outside layer, if you're looking at it even close, you have like round bits and different shapes of bits, but it's not like you can see their structure inside, that this is a grain of sand and this is a forum so easily. But I found that when you slice it, you might get so lucky as to get the cross section of a forum, and then you know for sure you're looking at a forum. And we did achieve that with this particular slice, and so we got a very nice lucky slice. I'm going to make it wet, which is going to make it easier for us to see. So get that going. Maybe we'll see some rotifers too. I don't think so, but I also want to make sure that we're at an angle so that we don't get the glare of the light. We'll bring her down. Now, the forums, I really like to look at them with a lot of magnification. They are superstars, like with more like 100. And so we're just looking for these guys with what are we at? Probably about 40 magnification. So not very strong. In fact, I'm going to bring a little bit more light in here. Hold on just a sec. So those of you who are like, what is she talking about? Wow. Oh. The forums, the foraminifera are the single cell objects that you can find in the fossil record. And actually they are fascinating because they can help you determine the age of a rock, what the environment was like. They're doing a lot of environmental studies off of what they're finding out as far as, how well the forums can do in certain locations. There we go. Get some light on that. And so we're just panning over. We see a grouping of silicate right there. That's what you're looking at with that big bright blob in the concretion. And when you see there are little little guys, like what looks like little grains of sand, but they're hollow. Those are forams, and they come in extra double small, or you get ones that are beefier. We're looking at the actual silicate skeleton of the forum when we get a chance to see them. I know that there was one that was pretty close to that, I think. This particular specimen turned out having a certain kind. One of the neat things that you run into with these, getting it wet again, um, is that little guy like dead center almost right there, this like screaming at us. That's one. But we had some that are really fancy and bigger than that guy that I thought you guys might want to see on this particular specimen, and it was close to that little silicate globule. Yeah, they can learn so much from the forums. That's actually a big shell sitting there. Looks like it shares the same matrix as what's on the outside, so it's not one of those like dual uh, chronology type situations where it filled in at one point and then the matrix came like sometime after carrying different kinds of stuff. Oh, there's what I was looking for. Right in the center now. I don't think we can get any closer, but what it looks like to you is like maybe a sectional, let's see. No, no closer. There's a sectional worm to the left and like a half of it to the right. Um, and shoot, I wish, let's see if I can get that better lit just enough so that you can see the sections better. Um, there's like a dark section at the top and then a fat section, and then it starts going into smaller sections towards the bottom, and it basically looks like a worm, although that's the silicate crystalline uh skeleton of it, and half of one to its right side there in the center. There's like a big light spot right in the middle of it too. And so that that we would have had a really hard time seeing if that hadn't been cross sectioned. And many of them get cross sectioned like you know the other way, and so these are sideways, like over to the left. I can bring that to the center. You see, kind of like they're almost dead center right now. That's probably a cross section of exactly one of those guys. It's just a hole, with like a light trace around it. And so there are books that you can go through and we could find out exactly what little guy that is, or pretty close. And like I said, they can actually age rocks because these guys, either they existed or they go extinct, and of course they live today. You can see the skeletons of the bottom ones at the bottom of the page, and then a couple more skeletons towards the middle above them. And they can tell you a lot about the age of your rock and the environment. So if you've got a fossil and you're wondering about the age, I'm sorry, I'm getting into the glare of the light. We'll go the other way. You can check the foramens, and actually there's a really cool fancy one right in the middle now. They look like pine cones. Speaking of pine cones, like that one's really white, but basically it looks like a pine cone. And then there's a faint one over to the left of it, just by, I don't know, another fourth or fifth of the viewer range. And then right underneath the glare spot in the middle, the biggest glare spot that you see, right underneath that, it almost looks like a little flower or a rose, a light puff there. That's another one. It's just another view of it, and they very much look like a little stacked rose because they're if you can imagine a segmented something, like a pill bug or something like that, and they've got these stacked segments, and they're not all the same. And so from a cross section going through the middle of the creature, instead of along the median that would be top to bottom, if you cut it in half, it oftentimes looks like a rose or something like that. All right. Ken says good night. And I thought that I saw Rufo go. Thank you so much for having been here, Rufo. And let's see, Twister, I would lose my mind. Crushing Rock, I couldn't see, LOL, or worse if it was cool stuff. Yeah. What's interesting, so the rock is dying, so now it looks, or drying, so it looks like a moon surface or something like that. Um, it One of the things that I think was an interesting find was when I was dissolving some of my fossils in acid, like, this guy will probably get a little acid bath, and we'll see very gently if we can get a little bit more information on who this little guy is, or how many different little guys we have. Um, at the bottom of the acid bath, what had come away and what hadn't dissolved was a bunch of foramins. And so I actually did like a test slide from some of the sand that had been the dissolved sand in my vinegar bath, for the fossils, and there was an incredible separated bunch of forums in there, and that was just amazing. So when you crush up rocks, sometimes you do have something even more interesting inside. It's worth looking into. And so I want to remind everybody that Kyle definitely has a live stream sale going on tomorrow. If you didn't catch the video of the finds, finding these wonderful rocks down on the beach. It's the new one that's up on my page or on my channel. I haven't made a video for so long, so it's pretty exciting to finally have one out of the can. I've got a bunch more. I've got like something like 8 videos that I'm like working on editing. This one was just really easy because I went down to the beach and I took you guys all along and threw some music on it, and here we are. So go watch us have some fun on the beach, and then I'll catch up to all of you guys on the weekend and all of the live streams. I especially want, like, my words of wisdom for this evening. If you're having a hard time, then if you need to reach out and find some strength from other people, definitely do so. Like, it's okay not to have to just keep it to yourself. You can reach out, and hopefully, those people are going to support you and help you find the strength that you need. But this too shall pass. Hard times happen, and we're all here for each other. And so definitely know that, and be with somebody if you need to hang out and spend some time. And if being alone isn't the thing to do, we're all here. And I really appreciate this community for how much it supports each other. And so just know we're all here for you. And I hope that you guys are all doing well and not going through hard times. But if you are, we're here, and this too shall pass. And so to you and yours. And to here's to great rock hounding all weekend long if you get a chance. And if not, wonderful studio hours. I'll see you around the way. Thanks so much for joining me for this live stream and the premiere of the video. That was super fun. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side of the rock. Cheers. Steinkern. Till the next one.